as well as on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and on facebook.com in two places, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt and facebook.com/livenowdt, where the show is being shared. I want to, speaking of sharing, I want to share this with you right now. You could see that this is the new logo of Wake Up Call, something that we created during the pandemic. I wanted a fresh, new, and beautiful look, and we got to do that, and so it's the sun rising out of the coffee cup for Wake Up Call, and this gear is going to be going on sale hopefully here in June. We're going to be able to roll that out to you, but you see me wear it a lot on the show, and I just wanted to show some love to Mark Products right off of Court Street in Syracuse, New York, for all the incredible work that they have done to bring this to life. And I want to give a shout out to my guy John Granquist, who helped me to create this logo and all of the logos that we now have for Dan Tortora Broadcast Media, all of our company stuff and everything that we're doing. So I want to give a big shout out to John, and I want to give a big shout out to Mark Products here in Syracuse, New York. So thank you so much, and I appreciate you so very much. So thank you to Mark Products and Rich and the entire team there, Rich Louise, and of course a big thanks to John Granquist. So much love, and I look forward to rolling these out to you soon. With that being said, on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, we got a jam-packed show for you today. We're going to start the show off with the Annoying Moment of the Week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. And we'll give you that in annoying moment. Trust due, folks, that I have one. I have a few. And so we'll talk about those today. The annoying moment of the week coming up for you here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And I'm pretty confident that the annoying moments for this week, many of us are going to be able to connect with in some way, shape, or form. I think these may be pretty universal. There's ones that I talk about sometimes that may be more specific to something. I think that these are very universally connected to many of our lives. So we'll talk about that in just a couple minutes. And after we have the annoying moment of the week, we're going to be joined by Juanita Ward in Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver. And Juanita is going to be joining us today, proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero for Lead, once again standing for Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver. She'll be joining us to speak on the topic how we can be an example, either positively or negatively, that you can be an example. So we'll talk about what that means, and very excited to bring that topic to you today. And so we'll be doing that very, very soon at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Then we'll get into the Top Dog of the Week. Top Dog of the Week proudly presented by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding. I'll be announcing my Top Dog of the Week. And, of course, we're going to have a very special conversation coming up. After the trio of topics, we have a beautiful conversation coming up with Kyle Kallander. Kyle Kallander, the Big South Conference Commissioner, will be joining us for the first time ever on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, making history with us here on the show. So, a lot of great stuff coming up inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', and anywhere in the country, including all the teams in the Big South Conference. If you want some kettle corn and you want it right, listen, there's some things you might never have thought of. Lucky Charms, s'mores, banana split. They have so many different flavors and so many awesome treats at MonPazPopcorn.com, even outside of kettle corn, and you can have them delivered right to your doorstep in any one of the 50 states by going to, sometimes might feel like 50 countries, any one of the 50 states. Go to MonPazPopcorn.com and use the promo code DT20. That's DT20. It's my personal code that will get you 20% off your online purchase. So make sure that you do that today, and I appreciate everybody that has. So big thanks to each and every single one of you. So with that being said, it's time to get into the annoying moment of the week. It's AMOW time, and we are jumping right into the annoying moment of the week right here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt, where sports meets that thing called life.
Dan Tortora proudly brings you...
Is that for real? Are you kidding me?
The annoying moment of the week.
I'm really honest. I don't know how to respond to this.
Presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It's what happy tastes like.
You have to be that crazy. I guess so.
the annoying moment of the week, probably presented by Carvel DeWitt for this week. Well, let's let's get it started with what I think the first annoying moment of the week has to be. And so my first annoying moment of the week for this week, I would tell you, is it's the people that can't make decisions, right? The non-decision makers, the ones that, like, you get in the car and it's like, where do you want to go to dinner? And they're like, I don't know. And then you sit there in the driveway for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes. I don't know. You know, I don't like saying that phrase. I really can't stand saying that phrase, the I don't know phrase. I don't like that phrase. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Because it's like, well, you know, then let's figure it out. If you don't know, then let's work on knowing. Let's work on, doing this together and figuring it out together. If you don't know, then let's try to know, right? You know, let's try to do this. Let's try to make this happen together. So, you know, it's one of those things where, and the thing is, like, right, everybody's hungry, and I understand sometimes it's hard to make a decision. I get that. I understand, you know, sometimes you don't know, but you got to have somebody who kind of knows, or somebody who can help you to know. Because if you don't know, and they don't know, and nobody knows, then where are we going? We're not going anywhere. You know, you're going to starve to death. I mean, do you think the cavemen were like, do I want to kill this? I don't even know. Do I want to kill this tiger today? Or do I want to try and go after that dinosaur today? Yeah, you know, I just don't know what I want. I had dinosaur meat yesterday. And, you know, I like velociraptor meat, but it's a little bit tough. But do I want to have some more of it today? I think I have some, you know, in the cave somewhere. I'm not quite sure. Before you know it, it's 9 o'clock. So you got to figure it out. And, you know, so I think that's definitely got to be an annoying moment of the week, because you have to, somebody within the group, right? Somebody within the car has to help you make a decision, or else everybody's sitting there. And sometimes it's okay, right? You know, sometimes it's like, hey, we're just trying to find a place, we're working together. But other times, and here's the thing, this is the real annoying moment of the week, and it comes off of what I'm saying right now. The people that say that they don't care, right? I don't care where we go. They always care where you go. They always care. They're the only person in the car that does care. Oh, you know, I'm really simple. I don't really know. I just don't really care. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. I have been in the car with family members, bless their hearts, and with some people, you know, and they tell you that they don't care, and they're the ones that care the most. They're the ones that need to, like, they care the most. I don't care if we have pizza. Yes, you do. I don't care. I mean, just say it. Because after like 25 minutes of trying to convince them somewhere to go, what do they tell you? You know, I just really wanted to go to such and such. Okay, then just say it. Just say it, right? Say it. Don't beat around the bush. Say it. So it's an annoying moment of the week because, you know, when somebody tells you, I don't care where we eat, a lot of times those people care so much where you eat. And they want to push you toward their place, but they want you to guess it in your brain. They want you to osmosis read their mind and then go, oh, eureka, they don't care, but they actually do care. And I remember that they wanted to go here because they talked about it a year and a half ago on a Wednesday at 10:15 a.m. and we were in the kitchen and I turned left, and when I turned left to go around the corner, they said it, and then when they said it, I fed the dog their food, and oh my gosh, I remember. No, just pick a place, and if you don't care, then don't care. If you say you don't care, then don't care. I'm very easygoing, right? There's certain food that I can't have like every day because I got to be in the mood for it, right? Chinese food's one of those things. I can't have Chinese food every day. I can't have Chinese. I have it like maybe a couple times a year. But like, if I ate Italian food 3 days in a row, I'm going to take a break, right? It's just common sense. But I'm not difficult. I'm really not, right? I can go somewhere and get tacos. I can go somewhere and get some pizza. I can go somewhere and get salad. I can go get a sandwich. Like, I'm easygoing. Because life is hard enough that you don't need to sit in a car and be, you know, and just say where you want to go, right? Just say it. If I'm on vacation and I want to go to, you know, if I'm down in Disney and I want to go to Ohana, I'm not going to sit there and go, okay, I'm going to let my mom and dad name off 37 places at Disney, and then after an hour and a half, I'm going to go, what about Ohana's? You know what I mean? Just say Ohana and see what they say. You know, that's how it goes. It's frustrating, okay? Pick a place. Just pick a place. And I know that there's so many people that probably had this conversation with like their significant other yesterday, or their mom, or their dad, or their brother, or their sister, or their friends. You've probably just had that conversation, and you probably can name off very easily the person in your life that says they don't care, but they really do care. We all have a person in our lives that's like that. I'm not like that. I'm so like, let's just go have fun. Let's just have an adventure. That's me. You know, it's like, there's days where I'm in the mood for something, right? Like sometimes I get in that mood for Cracker Barrel, right? And, you know, obviously I love the Wildcat and Avacoles and Chick-fil-A and all these places that I get to work with. And, you know, very awesomely, I work with them, and I was already a customer, and I want to go there. You know, PB&J's Lunchbox, Pizza Man, you know, Carvel, Mon Paz, Millhouse. There's a lot of places that I love to Cafe Cubal to go get food, right? And so for me, it's not difficult. But, you know, there might be a day where you're in the mood for pizza. There might be a day where you just want some pizza, right? So you go get some pizza. And this is the way I feel about it. If I'm like around somebody who doesn't know what they want to do, you know what I do? I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go grab a slice of pizza. When I come back here and you're still sitting in the driveway, we can go get what you want to get. But it's not that hard. I'm going to throw a crazy thing at you. I like the company more than the food. I like the company more than the food. I'll eat whatever I got to eat because I'm with the people that I care about, people that I love. That's what I care about. Right? That's what I care about. So, don't be a difficult decision maker with this stuff. And if you want to go somewhere, say it, speak up. Nobody's supposed to read your mind, okay? So don't be nutty like that. The other annoying moment of the week, there's something else I want to get to, is when people stop driving on a highway. And when I say stop driving, I mean they're going about 50, 60, 70, and then they just go, oh, I remember that I left the oven on, and they just stop on the highway. Why? In what world, and I know that's one of my catchphrases, someone's pointed that out, but in what world, how can you not, how do you stop, how on a highway? How on a highway? On a highway. You don't do it on a normal road. How do you stop on a highway? You go, oh. And it's like, what's the thing? You know what I think it is? I think the person's driving. They're one of those really difficult people to eat with, and they just stop and go, I figured it out. I want to go to Cracker Barrel right now. I passed it 3 exits ago. Nobody behind me. They're not going to mind that I'm just going to stop, back up, and go over there. You know what I mean? It's like, no. It's probably you guys. You poor decision makers are probably the ones stopping on the highway. Your eureka moments. Let me tell you something. When you have a eureka moment, don't connect your eureka brain moment to the pedal of the brake, okay? No brakey pedal talky, okay? When your brain says, ooh, eureka, don't slam on the brakes. And these people, they don't even care. And then when you drive by them, they're like they're seeing the world for the first time. And not only that, if they're not, if they're not doing that, what else are they doing, right? If they're not looking like they've seen the world for the first time, then they look pissed. Like they're mad at you that you almost hit them when they stopped in the middle of the highway. Don't stop in the middle of a highway. Why do I have to tell you that? This is driver's ed, and this is not even driver's ed 101. This is driver's ed 1. Like, don't stop on a highway unless there's traffic or an accident. I love you, Florida. I love you. But Florida is the state of attraction and amusement. And you see it on I-4. It's not just reserved for Disney and SeaWorld and Universal Studios. When there's an accident on the highway or there's a fire or anything, everybody stops to look at it.
There's a car on the side of the road.
Yep, that happens a lot, Bill.
Yeah, but this one's on the side of the road.
Mm-hmm. It is.
I wonder why they're on the side of the road. We should slow down and look at them. What do you think? What do you think they're saying to each other? Do you think it broke down? Or do you think they had to pee? I'm confused. Should we ask?
No! Drive! Drive! You know? Now, I'm not saying don't help people on the side of the road. That is not what I'm saying at all. But, I mean, why is it such an attraction?
Did you see that if you look closely on the highway, there's a bird sitting on a building? I wonder what that bird's thinking. I wonder if he figured out where to go to dinner tonight.
You know, it's like, it's just... Drive safely. Make good decisions.
Do you think that bird could tell me where to go to dinner?
No, Bill, I don't. So that being said, this is the Annoying Moment of the Week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. It is what happy tastes like, and it's the exclusive home of the Orange Dream. You can go out and get that today. It's an orange creamsicle-esque design where I have taken the beautiful life of orange and vanilla and mixed it together into a sundae and a shake. You can go and get it at Carvel DeWitt exclusively. Orange sherbet with vanilla ice cream, all mixed up together with whipped cream, a cherry, and rainbow sprinkles. You can drink it as a shake or have it as a sundae. And remember that Wednesday is Sunday every week at Carvel DeWitt, where it's buy one, get one free Sundays at Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, we will be bringing you LEAD, which stands for Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver. And the topic of this week is being an example, either positively or negatively. Somebody is always watching. We'll talk about that right after this fast break, where sports meets that thing called life, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, proudly inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Make your way out to Cafe Kubal on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 208 North Townsend Street, 401 South Salina Street as well, and those are all in Syracuse, as well as inside of Galisanos Children's Hospital in downtown Syracuse, 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, in that behemoth of a beautiful brown striped building, and of course in their first ever drive-thru, where your boy's been multiple times this week. You can go out and find them on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Historic Corners in North Syracuse.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, hanging out with you inside of the Cafe Kubal studios and having fun as we always do every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Hello, my good people. Hope you're doing well. We're on that thing called Facebook Live as well, facebook.com/livenowdt, as well as being shared on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt and on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. And as I tell you all the time, I put my money where my mouth is here. So we got some Cafe Kubal this morning, and if you haven't seen the movie Kicking and Screaming with Will Ferrell, you got to watch it, because when I was there drinking my Cafe Kubal and just having it in the cup and sipping it at the newest location, their drive-thru on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road in North Syracuse, all I could think about was Will Ferrell in the movie Kicking and Screaming. And I wanted to act it out, but they hadn't seen the movie. So you got to go see the movie. And it's on HBO Max for free right now. So if you have HBO Max, then make it happen. But we, speaking of making it happen, doing great things in the community, I'm here with Juanita Ward today. I'm so thankful and blessed to have Juanita here on the show, as always. She means so very much to me. She is my sister in Christ, and just a person that I really truly thank God for every day. She is such an inspiration, and makes sense because she is an author. She just celebrated her 1-year anniversary of being an author, and I'm very, very proud of her for that. And you can get her book, I Can, I Will Succeed, by going to Amazon.com. You can get it for your Amazon Kindle, or you can get a paperback version of it. Go to Amazon.com and look up I Can, I Will Succeed. And obviously been involved with the world of sports and basketball, and is an assistant coach at Jackson State. And I'm just so very proud of Juanita for everything that she has done, and seeing her just evolve through life, and how good God truly is, and how that's been so real in her life. So as I told her off the air, the devil this week been working overtime, but he ain't getting paid for it. So I'm very happy to welcome Juanita into the show and to bring some positivity into your life if you need it. And if you already got a ton, well, we're about to hopefully shower you with a little bit more. So for Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, a.k.a. LEAD, brought to you by Chick-fil-A Cicero on 7916 Brewerton Rd in Cicero, New York, it's time to talk to one of my favorite human beings, Miss Juanita Ward. Juanita, how are we doing today?
Hey, Dan, how's it going?
I'm doing well. And Juanita, you and I, we talk about a lot of different things here on the show, and there's great topics that have come up, and there's topics that have come out of other topics, and just really cool things we've been able to do. Today's topic is being an example, and I kind of just want to open the door up to what that means to you, because you can be an example in a positive way, you can be an example in a negative way, you can be an example to somebody else, you can be an example to yourself. So when I say being an example, and this is the topic, and you messaged me that you were really excited about this, so what does being an example mean to you?
First, if I must, can I just thank every single person for making the 1-year anniversary of the book that God impressed upon me to write a total success. I just want to thank each and every person for going out and getting the book, for going out and buying the book on Kindle. It's your blessing. It's your awesome, just wanting to inspire and grow yourself up. That makes what I do that much more special, that much more gratifying. So for me, my heart, thank every single person so much for making this 1 year a complete blast. That's because of you all as to why, I am who I am. So thank you guys so much. Now, Dan, I'll tell you, I was so fired up when you sent me this topic, man. I was saying to myself, what better way to really get the weekend started?
Yeah.
Talking about this, because it's so important. You have to know who you are in order to be an example. You have to know which direction you want to go in order to be an example. You have so much that surrounds you every single day. We have so much that go on every single day that can lead us into a different path of leading somebody else. In order to be example, you have to be a great follower. But the first thing you got to do is you got to check the people that's in front of you, that's walking in front of you. Because if their footsteps aren't walking in the right path, and the right imprint that it's supposed to walk into, they could get off detour, which will lead you down a pathway of following a bad person and making bad examples, making bad choices, making bad decisions. Or you could follow somebody that is making good decisions, making good choices. It all depends on who you're following, who you're listening to, who you're surrounding yourself with, who's around you every single day that's speaking and talking into your ear. What are you learning? What are you studying? What are you growing into? What are you seeing? Everything that we do in life determines who we are and what we are. We don't just wake up in the morning and just go, oh man, you know what? I'm gonna be this and I'm gonna be that and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. Well, along the course of you waking up, along the course of you, getting yourself ready to walk out the door, it's essential. It's very essential to watch what you see, to watch what you hear, to watch how you allow your body to react to different things that go on, because that will shape your day. That will shape what you're about to do in the next 15, 20 seconds. Because I've heard it said like this before, talking to someone that I know that works in psychology. Sometimes self-consciously, sometimes not knowing, right? Self-consciously not knowing, or not knowing how or what has affected you, you can pick up others' impressions. You can pick up something that somebody else did. They used to do case studies all the time on kids, how kids' behaviors interact and change around this particular kid or around that particular kid. Yeah. And they realize the different examples of children that's in front of them that has taught this one child how to do something this way or how to do it the good way. And you have to be careful which direction you allow your foot to tread, which direction you allow the person or whatever you are allowing to get into your eye gate, get into your ear gate, whatever you're allowing to get into your brain. You have to be careful about it. You have to guard it. You have to protect it. Because if you don't, you'll end up being someone that you're not. And then people will tell you acting different. People will tell you, oh man, you doing this, you doing that. It's better to identify who you are and lead by example than to be someone that you're not and not know who you are. And now you can't even act like someone that you're not. Being a good example is a huge reflection of the footprints that you're stepping into.
Yeah, and Juanita, that is a beautiful way to say it. We don't always see how affected we are by some people sometimes until it does something, until it kind of like hits us in a certain way, and I've been in that before where you're surrounded by negativity and you're surrounded by pessimism, and when you're surrounded by that, like I've been around people growing up where this person settled in their marriage and this person settled and this person settled. So they always tell you, wait for the next shoe to drop, or wait until they let you down, or wait until you realize she's not who you thought she was, or wait until this. And growing up hearing that, it made marriage sound so bad. And it made it sound so they literally made it sound like she's an amazing person and she loves you. And then as soon as you put a ring on her finger, she turns into a gremlin. Like, that's what they made it sound like. And I was like, why would doing an amazing act before God change the people within it for the worse? It should help them evolve for the better. It should be a great step. And, but it's who you surround yourself with, because in that moment, those people are trying to get at me. And then, starting my business, people saying, it's not a real business, it's the internet radio, it's this, that, and the other. And those people that attacked me then tried to copy me, which I think is hilarious, but that's God's humor and it's beautiful. But the reality for me was, in my business, it was, you're not going to succeed. You can't do this. It's not going to work. It doesn't make sense. It's not something that people are used to. Nobody will be able to find you. Nobody will care. Outside noise, and this is why, I have conversations with people about, you have to be very careful about who you involve in your sphere. Juanita, I can call you for advice, but calling you for advice and involving you in like saying, okay, Juanita, help me, make this decision with my business, or tell me what to do with my girlfriend, or tell me how to, I don't want you telling me what to do, and I don't want you getting in here affecting it, because people inherently all have traits that they go by. So people could have the best intentions, but we all know what we like, right? If you tell me how to, what's my Disney trip, I got to think about what you care about and what you like, because if I tell you, go to all this Star Wars stuff, and you don't like Star Wars, I'm not listening to you. Now, I have love for you, and I have appreciation for you, and I'm spending time on you, but I'm not listening to you. And so I think that people have to be very careful about who you let in your life, and to what extent, and what do they think their role is. Because I've let people in my life before thinking, this is somebody I can confide in, and then before I knew it, this person was telling me how to live my life, who to date, how to date, what to do with my business. And I thought to myself, whoa. This person thinks they're making decisions for Dan Tortora Broadcast Media. They think they're making decisions for my future wife and children. They think they're making decisions about my house. No. So, like you said, you have to know the footprints that you're following, and you have to know if they're going off a cliff or if they're going toward the kingdom of heaven. You have to be cognizant always of what you're allowing in your life. They say when we're children, we are a sponge. That's not true. You are always a sponge. You will be a sponge until the day that God calls you home. What people say and do around you, whether you know it or not, can negatively or positively affect you. The subconscious, and this is the thing about it, there's consciousness and then the subconscious. The subconscious is to me sometimes more powerful than the conscious, because this stuff going on in the background that you're not paying attention to is really molding you to take either the wrong steps or the right steps. You can't control the negative things that people say around you. You cannot control the negative actions that people do around you. But what you can do is know the difference between somebody who is bearing fruit in your life and someone who is taking fruit from your life. And when you know the difference between the two, you start to make decisions on who you put yourself around and how long you do it. Because we are all sponges. We are all looking to plug into an outlet. And some outlets you plug into will drain your battery, and some outlets you plug into will restore your battery. You have to always be confident in who you are and cognizant of your surroundings. The wolf in sheep's clothing is there all the time. And you have to do your best to figure out who that is and where that is. And you have to make sure that you get that out of your life. There is always something going on in the background of life. And you have to pay attention to what you're bearing fruit, or if it's taking fruit, to what you're giving your time to and what you're not, and to what's healthy and what's not. Because if you're not careful, you may lose some really great things in your life if you're focusing on the wrong footsteps, and before you know it, you're standing at a cliff.
Needing to depend on others' opinions and needing the appraisal, if you will, to see if what you're doing is going higher or what you're doing is devaluing you. And I use the word appraisal, on purpose, because sometimes people value themselves as if they're like, money, as if they're in the form of money. What's the value of this and what's the value of that? I mean, sometimes people look at themselves as being a piece of land. Is my land over here worth more, or has it devalued? Has it not, have I not done anything to it? Needing the approval and the appraisal of others should never be the opinion of who you are, should never be the perception of your identity, should never be what you think of yourself. You have to be able to get to a place in your life where life is, what does Jesus think of you? What does Christ say about you? How can my mind be renewed and transformed in the way that I need to go in order to be successful, to glorify God? Because if I don't do that, then I'm going to continue to hit brick walls. I'm going to continue to stumble over stones that are not meant to be stumbled over. They're actually meant to jump over. I'm going to continue to run into a blockage that's actually meant for me to just walk around instead of instead of meant for me to walk into. If I don't know the direction or have a clear perception or conception of where I'm supposed to go in life and what I'm supposed to do in life, and if I am supposed to even be at this particular time in life, if I don't know, then there's a time, anytime it is, that you can check yourself. You can always stop and check yourself. You can always stop and say, wait a minute, hold up. Let me reassess the people that I have in my life. Let me reassess the TV shows that I watch. Let me reassess the things that I'm allowing to come into my personal space. Let me get back to understanding that my home, the place that I live, whether it's an apartment, a house, it doesn't matter. My home, the place that I live, is supposed to be my shelter. It's supposed to be my place of peace. My phone that I pay the bill for is supposed to be my line of who I allow to come through that line to talk into my ear. I have to answer yes. I have to pick up the call and say hello and allow you to speak whatever you're going to speak into the people that I associate myself with. You know, I have to give the okay to that. I have to say, you know what? Yeah, I'm giving you the okay to come into my life and be my friend, right? And I have to know that person that I have allowed to come into my life to be my friend. Everybody that walks in your path is not supposed to stick to you. They're not supposed to stay with you. You've heard this phrase before, Dan, right? Some people come into your life for a season. Some people come into your life for a reason.
Yeah.
Either way it go, then some are not there to stay. Some are not there to attach to you. But the reality is, when harvest come, right? Harvest time is everything that's old has been pruned away. And now it's time for a blossoming to take place. That's the reason harvest time is here. There's a blossoming that's taking place. Understand the difference in between harvest and pruning. So when you feel the pruning of, oh man, this person needs to leave my life, it's too much negativity, it's too much turmoil, it's too much them trying to control who I am, them trying to control what I do, what I say, them trying to control my business, them trying to control my walk, them trying to control everything that I have going on. That's a pruning process when your brain is telling you, I don't like it. You hear all these alarms going off in your head. Your body is literally, crunching up because you're like, wait, I'm not asking you to tell me all of this stuff. Now you jumping into the wrong things. You all in my business and you're not even supposed to be there. You have a purpose in my life. Serve your purpose in my life as a friend. Don't overstep your boundaries. And then you have people in your life that come to help uproot the harvest, help take up the crops that have been planted. Those are the people that are leading by example, that footprints that we need to walk into, because clearly they have planted some crops. Now they are reaping the benefits from them. Every time you have negativity that's over and over and over and through that same person or that same situation keeps causing negativity, and at some point when you have decided in your mind has transformed and shifted, that now you want to be led by the right example, you have to get rid of negativity. It's that simple. You got to get rid of negativity. It is your life that depends on letting go of bad fruit. Your life depends on that. Your future depends on that. Your reality depends on that. Let go of bad fruit. You have to take control of your life. But you got to let God lead it. You have to let God give you examples, give you wisdom. You can't do that unless you have a relationship with Him. And that's the beauty of why we come here every single week, to help someone understand that it's important to learn. It's important to evolve. It's important to ad-lib. It's important to have a great delivery. It's important for all of that. For your future, it is important. You have to know who you are, or else you'll follow the wrong person, or else you'll follow the wrong situation, or else you'll follow the wrong circumstance. You cannot look back in your past and say, well, I wasn't taught this. There's not going to be a time, because God is going to say, yes, I know that you weren't taught that. I know that when you was coming up, your mom wasn't qualified. I know that when you was coming up, your dad wasn't qualified. He left. Your mom decided to go somewhere else, or something happened in the family where you didn't have a good home to live in, and you guys grew up poor. Yes, I understand the reality of where you came from. I know I created you. I put you in your mother's womb. I planted you in that family for a reason. I know the situation. But this is what I did. I put you there for a reason, so that you can remember where you came from, so that you can help somebody else, so that when I bring you out of that situation, when I put some other people around you to help sharpen you, to help prune you, to help grow you up into the man or the woman that you're supposed to be, when I put that person that's not your family member around you, that's giving you encouragement, that's giving you positivity, that's giving you an enlightenment, that's giving you great insight, that's giving you great wisdom, when I put that person around you and I connect the right divine person with you, I want you to look back at the example, at your past, and say, look, this is where I came from, and you don't have to stay there. You don't have to stay a part of that situation. You don't have to grow up and make that situation become who you really are. This is who you have to be now. This is who you are aligning yourself to be now. You don't have to continue to be who you was. God continues to put people in our path, in our life, that continues to transform us and mold us and shape us into the people that we need to be for our future in order to reach our destiny. The reality is, are we accepting those people? Are we pushing them away because we have so much filth in us that we can't see the truth, that we can't see the real? Do we keep pushing the right people away? Or are we gravitating to them? Are we like a magnet to them? There's a self-check that has to be taking place inside of us as people. We have to really look ourselves in the mirror. I know that we've said it numerous of times before. Look yourself in the mirror and really talk to yourself and ask yourself, is this where I want to be right now? Is this where my vision that I see for myself, am I on the right track? If you can honestly answer that and say, yes, I'm on the right track, then keep going for it. But if you can answer that and say, no, I'm not on the right track, I may have stumbled a little bit, it's okay. Just get yourself back on track. Just align yourself again. Just say, God, listen, I've jumped off track a little bit. I may have some people, I may have some situations, some circumstances that's going on in my life right now that's causing me to be detoured. But God, I know that you can get me back on track. I know that you can bring me back on the right track that I need to be on. I trust you, God. I trust what you're telling me to do. Psalms 118:8 says, do not put your trust in man. It's amazing how it's in there, because God knew that we're human. We are subject to fail. We are subject to have emotions, and our emotions will contaminate what we do, what we say, how we think. Our emotions will do that. He don't want us to trust in man. He wants us to trust in God. And God, speaking through us as open vessels, can help someone else that's broken, because we too, at a point in our life, was broken. We too, at a point in our life, was off track. We too, at a point in our life, had to fall on our knees and say, God, I surrender, forgive me. I have had to do that many a times. I am a living example that God can get you back on the right path. That God can say, you know what? I know what happened. I know how that situation affected you. Now, here's what I want you to do. I'm going to put this person into your life, and I'm going to talk to them to help lead you in the way that you should go. Don't push away the help. Don't push away the truth, trying to justify why traditional, or trying to justify why staying stagnant is the right thing to do, when you know that you need to be more powerful, when you know that you need to be more divine, when you know that you need to be more, that there's more in you, there's a drawing, there's a pull. Reach out and grab the person that's trying to bring you higher, that's trying to bring you up higher. Don't stay down low. Go up higher, because there's something greater on the other side for you.
Coming from Juanita Ward, and Juanita is always speaking beautiful words to the community, and incredible. And I thank you. Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, brought to you by Chick-fil-A Cicero. Juanita, as always, I love you, sis, and I look forward to talking with you soon.
Thanks so much, Dan, man. Take care. Love you back.
Coming from Juanita Ward here on Wake Up Call this morning, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Wow. You know, don't push away. The funny thing is, like, Juanita and I, we don't discuss, like, we find out what we're going to say about the subject when we're on the show. You know, don't push away that which is good. If we have soot and we have stuff on us, dirt from life, are we going to stay dirty, or are we going to take a shower? Are we going to get better, or are we going to stay where we are? Are we going to let whatever internal battles we have going on and internal issues, and listen, and Juanita said, she's like, I've done this. I have too. I have let myself fight myself to the point where I have ruined opportunities for myself. You know, you hear people talk all the time about the internal struggle, you versus you, and you think that it's you trying to, like, do something. It's not. You're trying to kill you, and you have to stand out of the way of that. I can't tell you how many times I internal struggled and thought, oh, well, this means this, and this means... You know, I worked against myself for so long that I can only work for myself now. You know, I should have been doing it the whole time. I learned my lesson, and I don't work against Dan anymore. I'm not the final villain in the video game facing myself. I don't care who the villain is. I don't care if it's the devil themselves. I am not going to lose. God is on my side. I know my truth. And I will respectfully stick by my truth no matter what anybody says to me. Because I know who I am. And I'm no longer seeking who I want to be. I'm working to be that person. I'm not seeing it down the road. I need to be me today. I have to love me today. And I had to get to that point. And that point was dark. And that point was scary. And we all go through it. But it is so imperative to know the difference between the voice of God and the voice of the world and the voice of the devil and the voice of what is not good. Because if you don't know the difference between the voices, sometimes you end up following a wolf in sheep's clothing. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, the top dog of the week coming to you, and very excited about who that's going to be this week here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. Thank you so much for being here, folks, and I hope somehow, some way, we're helping you today. Much love. We'll be back right after this. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Rd in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacted the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, hanging out inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. You're watching us on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, being shared on facebook.com/livenowdt, and of course on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. So however you're connecting with the show, thank you so much for tuning in today. And of course, the top dog of the week is the next thing to come up for you here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora around 10 a.m. Eastern Time every single Friday broadcast. I feel very honored and privileged to bring you the top dog of the week, but I can't do it without Lily's help. As you know, when it comes to the top dog of the week, I always need to hear from my little girl, as she is my, I don't even call her my sidekick. She is my partner in crime when it comes to announcing the top dog of the week. So, top dog of the week for this week, proudly presented by Canine Kamp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding. My top dogs of this week are someone who I've gotten to know very well over the last 8 years and someone who I'm just starting to get to know now. And I feel very honored and very privileged to be around them both and to have this opportunity to get to know Mary Grimes and to have known over the years Miss Gina Castelli. They are my top dogs of this week, and I am so very excited. I got a lot of things to share with you today on social media, so again, it's imperative that you join us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT. That's Facebook at Wake Up Call DT. That's how you find the page. Twitter at Call DT and Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT, and of course on wakeupcalldt.com. Make sure it's all free to do. Wakeupcalldt.com is free to subscribe to and obviously bookmark and whatnot. And for Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, those are obviously free as well. So facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, or you can just do at wakeupcalldt on Facebook, and then of course you can find me on the Twitter at CallDT and Instagram at wakeupcall_DT. So make sure that you do that. My top dogs of the week are Gina Castelli and Mary Grimes. I had the absolute pleasure by being invited by Gina Castelli to come to the press conference yesterday, and I want to thank everybody that was there at the press conference announcing Mary Grimes as the new head coach for Lemoyne College Dolphins women's basketball program. I want to give a big thank you to Craig Lane, Bob Beretta, as well as Dr. Linda Lemura, Steve Evans, Gina Castelli, and of course Mary Grimes and Lemoyne College for involving me in this beautiful opportunity. And the way that I was treated when I got there, the way that I'm respected in my job and in my business, and the relationship that I built and the incredible friendship I have with Gina, and the friendship that I started yesterday with Mary, as well as my connections and that I've started with many other people there, and connections that I've had for a long time. So I feel very honored and privileged. They are my top dogs this week because if anybody knows Gina in any stretch of the imagination by just even a little bit, just a a minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Gina Castelli is an incredible, incredible human being. And I'm so grateful that we have a friendship. Because when, we got to meet one another and be around one another 8 years ago. And it was such a beautiful opportunity and really a true sign, like so many things in my life, of how God works. Is that 8 years ago, I met Gina, and I believe it was nice weather. It was warm outside, because I think I was wearing shorts. And I met Gina in the lobby of what is now Ted Grant Court at Lemoyne. And 8 years ago, she told me her vision and her mission, and we sat and talked about it. 8 years later, Mary Grimes gets announced in that exact same lobby as the new coach of Lemoyne after Gina decided to retire from the job. 8 years ago, I sat with Gina and heard her mission and her vision. 8 years later, I saw Gina and sat with Gina and then went and sat with Mary. Seeing this transition in my life personally means that I'm blessed twice, because I had the opportunity and the pleasure of meeting Gina Castelli 8 years ago. And now 8 years later, in the same place, just a couple steps from where I sat with Gina, I sat with Mary. And now I have the pleasure of knowing Mary. And because of the grace of God, and because of this beautiful world we live in, I will now have Mary and Gina in my life and support them both. And if Mary's anything like Gina, the support back is incredible. So I feel very blessed to announce these wonderful people in our community as the top dogs of the week, because Gina Castelli has done so much and she will continue to. And Mary Grimes has come back to Lemoyne for the third time, never as a head coach, and came back this time coming from Xavier. And she has the opportunity of putting her imprint on the school. If Gina stayed there forever, I would be blessed to get to hear from Mary and see Mary and sit down with Mary. I'm very excited about the bond we've already started to build. My community means the world to me. The people that are good people in this community that want to see us succeed have my support. And I'm grateful and I'm thankful to God that my top dogs of the week are right here in Central New York, right around the corner at Lemoyne College. God bless you, Gina. God bless you, Mary. God bless to your families. And God bless to Lemoyne and this community and everything we're looking to build. We got this. We got this. Gina Castelli, Mary Grimes, this week's Top Dogs of the Week, proudly presented by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding. And you can get to Canine Camp Dog Daycare by going to 228 Old Bridge Street, right off of Bridge Street in East Syracuse. 228 Old Bridge Street, across from BJ's. You'll find them there. And you will also find Canine Campground down the road from them at 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse for short-term care, obviously the daycare, for long-term care, dog boarding. Each dog gets their own cabin, gets their own safe space to relax and have themselves a good time. So make sure that you find your way to Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding. If you need someone to take care of your furry, loving friends, look no further than Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding. Shout out to these wonderful ladies. And guess what, folks? If you want to get my videos with the introductory welcoming of Mary Grimes from Dr. Linda Lemura, the president of Lemoyne College, from Bob Beretta, the new director of athletics at Lemoyne College, Mary Grimes' address herself, as well as sit-down conversations you won't find anywhere else with Gina Castelli and Mary Grimes, as we sat down on the day that this was happening and Gina passed the torch to Mary. If you want all of that, including this beautiful picture and more, please find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at wakeupcall_DT. With that being stated, we'll take a step aside for a fast break. Thank you so much, and God bless to each and every single one of you. Kyle Kallander is going to be joining us in just a moment here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, the Big South Commissioner for the first time ever. that's coming up right after this fast break where sports meets life from inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. God bless, no stress, do your best is what I usually say at the end of the show, but I feel like some of us need to hear it now. God bless you. Don't stress yourself out. And even when you feel like you trip, keep doing your best.
Cafe Kubal Mobile Cafe brings the cafe experience to you. We'll roll out to your neighborhood or office, ready to serve our locally crafted espresso bar to our loyal patrons. Inquire at cafekubal.com. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, located on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, is home to over 40 flavors with more than 200 flavors in their total wheelhouse. Sky's the limit for this sweet and savory Central New York company. Keep it local at your parties, fundraisers, wedding showers, baby showers, and more by calling 315-450-MA-PA. That's 315-450-6272 for popcorn bars with custom flavors and colors at your upcoming event. Make sure to visit them on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. And for more information, go to maandpassnacks.com. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is absolutely, positively worth the drive every time. Make sure you make your way out there and download their app on the Google Play and Apple App Store by going simply and searching Millhouse Market. You'll find everything there, from their salads as well as to their brick oven pizzas, their sandwiches named after the families that helped to settle today's Pulaski, and so much more. Ingrained in our community and ingrained in our taste buds. You'll find them Tuesday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. and on Sundays from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York. Absolutely worth the drive every time. Going so much further than just being a restaurant, giving us the general store, the indoor dining, as well as the drive-through pickup window, and more than that, giving us the guest service and the incredible ideas and the things that they do for one another in our community that help to build us up and never tear us down. So thank you for all that they do at the Millhouse Market. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I'm very honored and privileged at the opportunity that I have right now. We've been going around the country speaking with commissioners representing collegiate athletics, and the Big South is up next here today. The Big South here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora with Kyle Kallander joining us, the commissioner of the Big South Conference this morning live, and I feel very honored to have this opportunity to speak with him inside of the Cafe Kubal studio. So let's bring him onto the broadcast and get a true feel for what the Big South is all about, as well as discuss many of the pertinent topics to collegiate athletics today. Kyle, how you doing today?
Dan, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. And Kyle, for you, I mean, no big deal as a commissioner. You're just going through name, image, and likeness, a pandemic. It's been a pretty easy year and a half for you. So how have you navigated the world, all jokes aside, of being a commissioner who has your normal day-to-day 500 things to do, you need 25 hours and you only have 24, and then put name, image, and likeness on top of that, put a pandemic on top of that, scheduling changes and shifts, and trying to move sports into different seasons. How have you navigated the very strange waters that we've lived in for the last year and a half?
Yeah, well, it's certainly been a bit of a challenge, and I think it's really too bad that we've had two major and critical and really industry-changing issues that have come in on top of this pandemic, and name, image, and likeness, and transfers, because they really are critical. Not that outcomes would be any different potentially, but certainly you'd have more time to immerse yourself in those issues, I think. The pandemic, honestly, when it hit last spring, I don't know that I handled it very well. I mean, I just couldn't believe that we were going through what we were going through. And even though I had disagreement about the way things were kind of playing out, it was more about, we're supposed to be here trying to, provide the best opportunities we can for our student athletes to participate and to make it a meaningful part of their collegiate career and higher education experience. And there weren't any opportunities. Everything was canceled, and I just felt really bad for the student athletes. I felt that I just somehow wasn't able to do my job because we were taking such a sharp turn away from what we were all hired to do. And then, of course, we started focusing on what is it we needed to do to provide those opportunities moving forward, and how could we get back to it eventually, and how could we have a safe environment for everyone, and the Big South, like others, really pulled together. And I thought we did a great job, quite frankly. Ultimately, we played over 95% of our scheduled contests, which we felt really good about, and did it in a very safe way. And so, but it was really a challenge for a long period of time, and I don't think commissioners were immune to mental health issues around the pandemic that everybody else was going through. We're all trying to figure out how to deal with this and how to adjust our thinking and our day-to-day away from solving athletics problems and higher education problems to now pandemic problems. And so we certainly all learned a lot more about those areas than we ever thought we would or hope to again.
And that's the thing is, having to go through something that nobody was prepared for, and how could you truly prepare for it? And to have to do that, I find it interesting and beautiful and poetic in the sense of the fact that, you very honest when I just asked you that question. You said, I don't know if I handled it well. Go a little bit deeper into that. What do you feel like you could have done better? And I'm just moved by the fact that, I think when people are honest and really, take a good hard look at themselves, I think this world is lacking personal responsibility. And I think it's lacking that, hey, where can I be better? Where can I improve? So I find it very unique and special, and the sign of a good leader to say, hey, I think I could have done better. So where could you have done better, and why do you feel that way? And please understand the compliment of that, Kyle, that I don't think a lot of people, especially adults in this world, would come onto a broadcast show and say, hey, I think that I can evolve from here. I think that that definitely shows the content of your character, and it shows who you consider yourself and what you expect out of yourself and the people that work for you. So I think, first and foremost, that's a beautiful thing that I commend you on. And secondly, I'd love for you to expand on it a little bit.
Well, I appreciate that. It's way too complimentary, but I just fought it for a while. I fought it. I said, this is not what we should be doing. This is not the direction we should be going. There's other ways to do it. There's, can this really be that we are canceling, everything for the rest of the spring, and who knows for how long? And so I was just, and obviously just internally fighting, and I wasn't doing, I certainly understand the reality of things and the fact that we needed to figure out ways to move forward, but it was just, internally, I was just kind of fighting it. And so it kind of just took me a while to really accept, okay, this is where we are, this is what we're dealing with, let's figure out, how to serve our membership the best way we can, because certainly they were going through all the same things, and how can we support them and as best as we could, get back to providing those opportunities. I mean, I think that's probably reflected a little bit in that we were probably one of the last conferences when we got to August to say, okay, we're going to have to call it off for the fall. We tried to hang on as long as we could, but just at the FCS level, in football anyway, there's weren't conferences that were moving forward with it, so we had to kind of go along with that. And you look back and you say, would you have done it differently? I would have. Yeah, I think if we as FCS could have come to a place where we felt like we could have a season in the fall in football in a safe way, similar to what FBS did, I would have liked to have done that. But yeah, that's all 2020 hindsight. So yeah, I think it just took me a while to really accept that we were where we were, and we had to figure out how to move forward.
Yeah, speaking here with Kyle Kallander, the commissioner of the Big South Conference, and Kyle, like you said, you kind of look around and you saw what other people are doing, and you were trying to hold on and whatnot. How difficult was that? Because I think what I learned, which I, almost 18 years of broadcasting and always, my whole life being around sports, beyond that, I didn't know to the extent that what we learned this past, couple years, which was, especially in football, that there was no unified message. There was no NCAA says this is what we're going to do. It was like every conference for itself. There were conferences that didn't play. There were conferences that did play. There were conferences that played but told their teams they didn't have to. There was teams that played that the conference said you could, but we're not going to play as a conference. I did not know how wild, wild west it could be in collegiate athletics. Were you startled? Obviously you're a commissioner, so you're within this, but were you startled by that? Or what are your thoughts on the fact that, there was no unified message and unified, this is what we're all going to do? It was each conference to decide for themselves, which as a commissioner, I'm sure could create a lot of stress for you in trying to figure that out.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was startled, but that certainly was one of the challenges that we had. And obviously, our institutions aren't as large. We don't have medical centers as part of our universities, and so the information that we're relying on and the expertise we're relying on is much different than some others. And so in certain ways, you're looking to the NCAA, you're looking to what the major conferences are doing because of the resources they have and the expertise that they're able to rely on. And so you're trying to sift through it, and you're trying to figure out, okay, what is the best way forward for us? And hey, you're in a situation. Nobody's been through this before. It's very uncertain. Nobody has any idea about how this virus is going to react or move forward. And so, naturally, you're trying to be cautious, and you don't know what's going to happen. And so, you try to make the decision with the best information you have available. And I think there's a certain philosophy that comes into play when you're trying to make these decisions as well. And certainly, as a commissioner, you're not making the decisions yourself. You're trying to lead your conference through it, but your university presidents that's your board. Those are your bosses, and so you're trying to provide them as much information and guidance as you can. And ultimately, it's their decision to make. And so, yeah, it was really a challenge. And I ideally like to go back and say, hey, let's all do the same thing and be together. But in reality, that's just not college athletics. And even though we have the NCAA as a membership organization and we do make rules together, although it's certainly not always unanimous, that's the challenge we have. There's so many different institutions, different missions, different individuals and personalities. It's a lot more Wild West than maybe you even think it is, just because of the disparate institutions and levels that we're dealing with within the NCAA, and we're seeing some of that playing out in terms of our decision-making process around name, image, and likeness right now, and where that's going to end up. So no, not a surprise, just given what I know and have lived in college athletics. We get criticized for the fact that it's a big bureaucracy and we have a tough time making decisions and moving forward, but that's just the reality of dealing with Division I, where you got 350 institutions, and the NCAA as a whole with all divisions of over 1,000 schools. So that's a challenge that we have to deal with.
Yeah, and navigating that challenge and trying to figure things out, and name, image, and likeness, and in the transfer situation being a part of that, Kyle, and for you as a commissioner trying to work through this and figure this out. We have never had, and we talk about the Wild Wild West with everything going on with the pandemic and making decisions as individual conferences and institutions within that. When you look at the transfer rule, this is even more of a Wild Wild West. The intra-conference things going away in a lot of places, the ability to play right away and to really have free agency. I go here, I don't like this coach, I'm gone. I go here, this coach leaves, I'm gone. And being in these situations, or maybe, I went to this school and I thought it was this and it wasn't going to be, or maybe my mom got sick and I want to be closer to home. So many different things going into it, but the transfer portal is very, very densely populated, and there's issues within that because it is musical chairs, and if there's 890 spots and 1,000 people in there, somebody's not going to be able to find a school and not be able to play. So what are your thoughts as a commissioner on the transfer rule that has evolved and changed over the last couple of years, and the fact of name, image, and likeness, because you're trying to work through all of this stuff, and as we talked about, a pandemic coming in for a year and a half in the midst of all of the name, image, and likeness, and then really affecting the transfer rule. It's had an effect on taking away time from name, image, and likeness, and it's had an effect on really creating a change in the transfer rule. So this pandemic is going to linger with, what it's kind of domino affected into happening in collegiate athletics. But how do we tackle this, and how do you tackle this as the Big South?
Well, I don't think we're doing ourselves any favors in a lot of ways here. If you're a fan of the traditional collegiate model, of the demarcation between college athletics and professional athletics, then you have to be concerned about the direction we're going. I understand student athlete welfare and allowing student athletes to do more, and certainly from an NIL perspective, I've always been a proponent of allowing some monetization around that. You mentioned just a couple of things there, and when you're asking the question, you talk about free agency, you talk about commercialization and third-party endorsements around NIL, and isn't that a professional model? So we are moving that direction, and as an old guy, been in this business a long time, I am more of a traditionalist, and I do have a lot of concerns. I mean, obviously we've got to evolve and move forward, but I do have concerns that college athletics is becoming a minor league in the professional athletics, and we're getting away from that tie to higher education and the tie to the student athlete. And again, I understand the criticism and the big money that's involved at the higher levels, but at the same time, I think it still is different. So in transfer space, we have been opposed to liberalization of the transfer rules ever since we've been talking about this. It's been the last 10 years, really. And we actually had proposed alternate rules probably back 5 years ago of how we should be thinking about transfer policies. Have not been in favor of the most recent action in allowing student athletes in those 5 sports to be able to be eligible immediately. Because even though there certainly are circumstances where
this is more than mirror. This is a portal to your future.
At all. I just think we're opening ourselves up to tampering and to issues. You've seen that there are institutions, and probably a lot of them now, especially at the higher levels, they've got a recruiting coordinator for transfers. So that their full-time job is identifying student athletes at other institutions and recruiting them to their institution. Now, they should be doing that in a legal way where they're in the transfer portal first before there's any contact, but we all know that is not always the case. And so we've really We really have concerns about that. Our institutions have done an amazing job identifying talent, recruiting them, bringing them into their institutions, developing them, expending resources to help them achieve. And when they do achieve, then now they're off. Of course, I'm primarily talking about the high visibility sports at this point, but and so it's very difficult for institutions in the Big South Conference to be able to maintain and develop consistently high achieving teams in the sport of basketball especially, but also football now under the current transfer rules. We obviously are reacting and responding, and we're diving into the transfer area as well. We have to. That's kind of part of the scenario. But now you're even more so than ever before. You're going to have one and dones in a different way. One and done at your school, they're off someplace else.
Yeah.
How many of our all freshman team players are going to stick around at their schools when they're being recruited by larger institutions? So I'm not a big fan. Traditionally, when you've seen the Cinderella stories in the NCAA basketball championships, they're generally teams that have had student athletes that have been in that program for a few years. They're upper class led. Those are the types of teams that have had some success in upsets in the NCAAs. You're going to see a lot less of that, I think, moving forward, because you're not able to maintain and keep your student athletes in your program for a period of time.
Yeah, and that's like you said. Obviously, what this is doing, people have to look at, and I always bring up the example of a toothpick when I tell people anything created in this world that's created for a positive purpose can be used in a negative way. A toothpick is to pick something out of your teeth. A toothpick is to grab an hors d'oeuvre. Well, you can also use a toothpick to poke somebody's eyes out. So it's the reality of once you open the door to something and once it's there, can you go back? When you tell student athletes now, hey, you can go wherever you want. There's no transfer restrictions. You can play immediately. You can't really take that back. And once you go into name, image, and likeness and start allowing players to make money, you can't go back from that either. So it's once it's out there, it's out there. And I think the thing I'm looking at, speaking here with Kyle Kallander, the Big South Conference Commissioner, on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios this morning, what I'm concerned with is if this model doesn't work, if it has more negatives than positives, once it's there, it's stuck. And what do you do in that situation? Because with name, image, and likeness, the NIL discussion, the questions I've asked months ago were, okay, so for argument's sake, let's say, so you have your football schools, right? So let's say, for argument's sake, let's say Campbell has 2 quarterbacks, and the starting quarterback gets an endorsement from a dealership, and the backup quarterback, and the starting quarterback isn't playing that well, so the backup quarterback has to come in. Does that dealership come and bang on your door and say, does he go to Campbell and say, hey, you got to play the starter, he's not injured, and I got to sell cars, and I gave him a 1-year endorsement, I can't have the backup out there because I need this guy I gave $10,000 to sell cars. What does it do when one running back gets an endorsement and another one doesn't? The dissension that creates in the locker room. And so I'm asking these questions because they're real questions, because I'm a business owner and I deal with sponsorships and partnerships and all of that stuff every day. What happens when companies want to get involved? What happens when they endorse the wrong player, in their opinion, so to speak? What happens when players want to get the ball because if they catch 10 passes, the company that's endorsing them said that they'll put another 10,000 on top of it? How do we navigate that? And how does that not cause infighting in locker rooms? And if players start looking out for themselves even more so, then what happens to collegiate athletics and team athletics in general at that point?
No question. There's a ton of questions around those kinds of issues. And if that car dealer is a booster, then how is that allowed? And is it fair market value for what that student athlete is receiving? And if that car dealer is a member of the university board of directors that the president is reporting to, what kind of pressure does that exert on the president and the institution and all those relationships? What happens when a student athlete wants to go out and do his own shoe deal? And what does that do to the ability for the institution to protect their deals and their revenue generating opportunities, which, by the way, support all student athletes, not just in football or basketball. So no, there's some real issues and real concerns around that. I have, my support of name, image, and likeness kind of goes all the way up to the third-party endorsement, but really doesn't go there. The challenge becomes, can you allow somebody to benefit off signing autographs, but not allow them to be involved in the endorsement space? And it gets even more murky when you start getting into social media. So there's some real challenges around where you draw the line, but I think we're well beyond that. We've embraced for good or for bad this opportunity for student athletes to monetize, but I think there's going to be some real issues and concerns. How much time do student athletes have to spend on this? I mean, it's really going to be interesting to see. Somebody really wants to make some money and monetize their name, image, and likeness. How much time are they spending on their social media identity and brand, versus what they should be doing, paying attention to classwork versus what they should be paying attention to from an athletic standpoint? It's really going to be interesting to follow.
Yeah, and it's definitely going to. It seems like there's so many questions and so little answers right now, and so hopefully we could sift through this thing together. Speaking here with Kyle Kallander here on the broadcast, a wake-up call with Dan Tortora, Big South Conference Commissioner, and you are based in a city that is near and dear to my heart that I've gotten to know over the years, and that's that beautiful city, the Queen City of Charlotte, North Carolina. Speak with me about being based in Charlotte. You've been there with the conference, I believe, since 1996, so you've gotten to spend an ample amount of time leading this conference and into the 21st century and beyond. So I would love to hear a little bit more about your story, Kyle, and kind of what brought you to the Big South and how you've evolved over time. But the first part is what do you think about the Queen City, and what is your take on Charlotte, North Carolina? Because I get a little smile on my face when I think about it. I like discovering Charlotte. So what can you say about home base and what brought you to the Big South?
Well, Charlotte's beautiful. We absolutely love it here. It's a growing city, like many cities in the South and the Southeast. That just, especially recently, I mean, it's just been unbelievable how quickly the city has grown. It's a city that is not too big. You don't have a lot of the traffic issues. I mean, there's some, but you're not Atlanta, you're not Washington, D.C., but I think you're right size in terms of the city, what it offers, professional sports and collegiate sports and culture and everything else right here. So it's a beautiful city. We do have seasons. You have a winter here and you have beautiful fall and spring. It's a little sticky in the summer, but it's certainly worth living through that. You're 3 hours to the beach. You can get up to D.C. or Atlanta easily. So it's well situated, and it's well situated right in the middle of our conference. The Big South Conference, we like to say, is built for the future. I mean, we are geographically compact. We have 12 full members that are in 3 states: Virginia, North and South Carolina. My longest trip to a full member, I think, is 5 hours to Hampton, Virginia. So it's just, it's a bus ride for everybody. You don't have to get on a plane. You're physically responsible. You build rivalries because it's easy to get from one place to another. So we really feel great about the conference and got North Carolina A&T coming in this coming year as our 12th member, so we're excited about where we are. We're a little further spread out on the football side out of necessity with Monmouth up in New Jersey, they've been awesome members and obviously have been very successful. And then Kennesaw in North Alabama, a little further out. Now Robert Morris is just coming in. So that's kind of about our necessity to build out our football membership, but that's worked out very well as well. So it's a great location. It's a great area. People love their college athletics down here, and that's really benefited us well.
Yeah, and you talk about North Carolina A&T coming in as your 12th full member, and congratulations on getting to 12. What can you say about North Carolina A&T? I mean, obviously geographically it makes sense, but beyond that, what made them the right fit to expand your conference?
I didn't know a whole lot about North Carolina A&T before we started talking about them as a prospective member in the conference, and I have just been continually impressed by their university, what they offer to their student body, their academic offerings. I mean, the engineering and the other programs, it's just so impressive. Their leadership is outstanding. Harold Martin, their chancellor, is just a top-rate guy and really well-respected leader. Earl Hilton, their AD, has done an outstanding job. And even though they are not full members yet, they've been participating in everything we've been doing from an administrative side for the last year, and just really impressed with them. And just to talk about their athletics, they immediately make us better. Their football is nationally successful. We're excited about them coming in. If you paid any attention at all to track and field, what A&T brings to the table. They were the only institution to finish in the team standing in the top 4 for both men and women in the NCAA Outdoor Track Championships recently, with winners and one young woman student athlete doubled in the 100 and the 200, won both of those. They had a winner in the 400 meter and the 4x4 on the men's side. So just outstanding. Basketball, I think the men's basketball was won the regular season up there. So it's just I just can't say enough about how excited we are to have the Aggies come into the Big South Conference.
And so when we look at that, and we look at your 12 full-time institutional members at Campbell, Charleston, Southern, Gardner-Webb, Hampton, High Point, Longwood, Presbyterian, Radford, UNC Asheville, USC, Upstate, Winthrop, and now North Carolina A&T. When I read those names off, how do you define that? When you look at the full member schools and you hear, those institutional names, what do you think of? What's top of mind for you when you hear that?
I think, it's a group of institutions that, even though we have a lot of diversity in this league between public, private, HBCU, faith-based institutions, they're a group of institutions that really have generally kind of the same mission and same resource to put toward their support of their student athletes. They want athletics is an important part of the university and the institution, but not the most important part, obviously. And from a resource standpoint, they're all pretty similar in how they support their programs. And so even though the institutional missions are a little bit different on the athletic side, it's very cohesive and very similar in terms of their approach and their support. And so it really makes for a very collegiate and collegial and competitive conference on the athletic side.
And we look at the, competition within your conference of those 12 member schools, then you add in football schools, Kennesaw State, Monmouth, North Alabama, and Robert Morris, and you just added here in this year 3 more associate members for women's lacrosse in Furman, Mercer, and Wofford. So the Big South in of itself with 12 member schools, plus having Furman, Mercer, and Wofford come in to be a part as an associate, and then Kennesaw State, Monmouth, North Alabama, and Robert Morris to be associates. When you put all of this truly together, you have this beautiful array of 19 schools connected to you in some way, shape, or form. What does that do? Once we bring in the associate members, what does that say about the Big South?
Well, it just shows that we're a place where institutions understand they have great opportunities for student athletes to compete and excel, and there's a couple things about membership. Obviously, when people talk about membership, they talk about expansion, which obviously all of us are interested in and have been looking at. But it's also, membership is also internal. So you've got to have a place where people want to be, and you got to have services and opportunities that people really enjoy being a part of. And so I think even more important, because if you have a conference that people don't enjoy the relationships, don't enjoy the opportunities, then they're not going to stick around very long. So I've really been pleased that we've been able to provide that to our members. We've been stable and successful with that moving forward, and then we have opportunities for other institutions. They may not be full members, but they may have a need for other sports, and Big South is a home for them, because they know that it's going to be a place where they can be successful and be and enjoy being a part of, and be in association with like-minded institutions that also want to be successful. So I think it does say a lot about our membership and our conference that we've been able to do that.
That coming from Kyle Kallander, the Big South Conference Commissioner, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora this morning inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. Kyle, before I let you go, final points here. One of them being, how do we look to the future, the strength of the conference as we move forward? What can you say about as you move forward, and what is your main focus? We've spoken on so many different topics. What do you see coming, God willing, fully out of this pandemic? So where are things with the Big South? What is kind of the vision and the mission? Annual meetings just went on recently here. So what is the focus at this point?
Well, the focus is squarely on the student athlete. I mean, that's of course, certainly everybody's focus is there, but and I've kind of touched upon it a little bit. How can we best provide opportunities for our student athletes moving forward? And obviously, clearly the geography is a part of that. As I mentioned, we're kind of built for the future in terms of our ability to keep costs down while provide outstanding competition. But it's also what are other ways that we can provide those opportunities for our student athletes? Obviously, their student athletes are interested in a lot of other things these days, and so by bringing in a Hampton and a North Carolina A&T, by bringing in HBCUs to the conference, that provides experience, exposure, and opportunity, for all of us to be in a more diverse world here within the conference, which I think is really valuable in terms of our understanding of other individuals and our experience with other individuals. And so I think that's really valuable. How can we make sure that we're providing their opportunity to be successful after they leave? Certainly everybody wants to, play as long as they can, but at some point you won't be. So how can we ensure that we are providing experience and training so that they can be successful in life, which is really critical. So that's really got to be our focus. We got all these other issues that are out there, that we're concerned about. I've expressed my concerns about NIL and transfers and other issues and where college athletics is going, but when you boil it right down, it comes to we are serving our student athletes, and we have to provide them as college students and as college student athletes the opportunity to get a degree, get an education, enjoy their time at their institutions as college athletes, but ultimately be successful men and women in society. And so that's got to be our focus moving forward, and that's what we will do as we look to the future.
What keeps you around 1996 to now? Why stay the commissioner of the Big South? I mean, there has to be, concrete some things that keep you around in this place. So what are they?
Well, the key keeps working. They haven't kicked me out yet. as long as they will have me. Hey, you know what? There's only 32 of these jobs in the country. I mean, it's a pretty good gig. So I've really enjoyed our institutions and the people we work with and work for. I think occasionally you hear about some dysfunction in some places, some conferences and disagreements, and everybody has some of those and some of that. But generally, our people get along well. They pull together. They understand what we're trying to do as a conference. And that's really what I enjoy, is that we've been able to do that, be successful in that, and providing those opportunities for student athletes by all working together. And so It's the people, it's who you're working with and working for, and you feel like, at least at a conference level, you have an opportunity to have some influence over some of these national discussions and dialogues. And so that's what keeps me around and keeps me going.
What's the difference, since you've been a leader for so long, and like you said, they haven't kicked you out yet? What's the difference between a good leader and a great leader?
Oh boy, that's a great question. I think it boils down to your effectiveness, and I don't know. I'm not going to call myself a great leader, but what I try to do in this business. You've got 12 institutions I've mentioned. They're all different personalities, different missions. It's really important that you're building relationships across the conference, both between yourself and the institution, the president, the ED, and others, and amongst institutions. As a commissioner, as I mentioned, I'm not making decisions. Our schools are. So I've got to be able to make sure, number one, I'm listening to the schools, what they need, what their wants and needs are. And then we are providing them the guidance and the leadership to make smart decisions and try to build consensus around a lot of these critical issues. Certainly, first of all, it's local and what we need to do to be successful moving forward. But then, of course, it's national as well. And so, I think it's building trust and respect through those relationships that you have amongst your institutions, so that when it comes time, when you have these difficult decisions to make, and we have challenges and controversies, you can work through those things and come out in the right place. You're not always going to agree on everything, but if there's that trust and respect that you build amongst your constituency, then you know that at least people will understand how and why we got to where we are, and hopefully are the right decisions, and hopefully they pay off to be successful.
You mentioned HBCU, historically black colleges and universities, having that represented within the Big South. How important is that? How vital is that? And where are we in trying to create a more equal and more universally appreciative and open world? How is the HBCU model working in today's world of collegiate athletics, and what are we doing to create opportunities where the color of your skin is not making a decision on the content of your character?
Yeah, well, number one, HBCUs play a critical role. I mean, I have the ultimate respect for what they do and what they provide for their students and their communities. When we started recruiting Hampton and then NCA&T to come in the Big South, it really wasn't about being HBCUs. It wasn't about being diverse. It was about because we really thought they were great institutions academically and athletically, and we had a lot of respect for their leadership and what they can do, again, making the Big South better than we currently are. I think the diversity factor that they are HBCUs just brings a richness to the conference in terms of the experience that we have, and that not only they can have as being a part of the conference, but the rest of our institutions, our predominantly white institutions, can get from the HBCU experience. I mean, I'm learning a whole lot about it. I certainly am not somebody who knew much about HBCUs going into this, but I'm learning a whole lot about it, a whole lot about what what that experience is, what the concerns are, and the benefits are, and so I think I'm a better person just to be able to understand that a little bit better now. So I think they are really important. I think they're great opportunities. I think they provide outstanding opportunities and experience. And as Gene Marshall, the AD at Hampton, said when we announced they were coming in, he said, we're not giving up being an HBCU. I mean, they will continue to be and are, as is A&T. They just have to have a different conference affiliation. So that experience is still there, and we're all better because of it. And that's, on their part, it took a lot of courage to make the moving out of an HBCU conference into the Big South. But we honor and respect that history and heritage, and still continue to feel like it is a great experience and a great opportunity for the students at those institutions.
And you talk about that, creating that atmosphere and that culture and welcoming and bringing it all together. So the Big South logo has evolved over time. I'm a big fan of it. Where it currently is, I'm liking it. I would rock a shirt with this on here. Just telling you, Commissioner. So, what can you tell me about the branding, which is ever so important, and this Big South logo, which is simple yet very. To me, I love it. What I like about it is I like the circle with the big and then the S next to it. Then I also like the South with that big kind of being like the rising sun coming through it. I mean, I'm a person that cares very much about logo. I've rebranded and done stuff with mine as I've shown with the sun coming out of the coffee cup for Wake Up Call. So why this logo? What do you think about it? And how quickly can the mail get up here from Charlotte?
Well, I think it was about, probably longer ago, 5 years or so ago, we decided we needed to launch a new rebranding effort. And, like I say, I've been here 25 years, so we've been through a couple of these over time. But we just needed something that was distinctive, was bold, was really spoke to us. So the process was much more about just a new logo, right? I mean, it was about who we are and what we're about. Yeah. We talked about, do we want to continue to have the South in the name? Because some people feel like maybe that's a negative. Do you want a new name, or how do we want to do this? And as we went through the entire process, and we worked with SME on this, by the way, out of New York, that was an important part of who we are. We are in the South, and there was a lot of benefit to holding on to that brand and holding on to the pride that we have of where we are. And so that was kind of the first decision. But then it was, okay, how do we express that the best? And traditionally, our logo has had a sun in it. At least initially it did. We kind of tried to keep that emphasis graphically, and so that was kind of what you mentioned, the O and how that represents that. But they came up with this look that incorporated the big into the mark, and also on the secondary mark you mentioned the big S. Doesn't necessarily tell you exactly who we are just by looking at it if you don't know, but it raises the question. So you look at it and say, okay, what does that mean? Who is that? So I think it is distinctive, and it sets us apart a little bit. So it's big, it's bold, there's meaning to it. And along with that, we talked about messaging, and we came up with the Where Winners Are Made tagline, which speaks to a number of different levels. So as a conference, we're not the ACC, we're not the SEC, but we are a conference that develops student athletes, as I mentioned earlier, to be a winner in life, to be a winner in the classroom, to be a winner in the community, and certainly be a winner on the field and the court. So it speaks to what we do and what we provide to our student athletes, and making them winners. And that I think says it all.
Awesome, and a fantastic response to that, and a beautiful thing to show that there is so much more than just a redesign to make something look cool, that there's so much that goes into it. Kyle Kallander, the Big South Commissioner, and Kyle, a final moment here on Wake Up Call inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. I like to flip the script because you as a commissioner are always getting asked questions. You don't get to ask any questions. You never get to sit at the podium and turn it on the media and go, I have some thoughts. So I'm going to let you do that on the show. We do a thing here called Rapid Fire. We've done it for a very long time. And what it is it's a trio of questions. It can be about sports. It can be about literally anything. It can be about life. It doesn't have to have anything to do with sports. It's totally up to you. But you get to essentially run Wake Up Call for 3 questions. As a commissioner, you get to put me on the hot seat. So understand how nice I've been and be gentle. But with that being said, I turn it to you because I like the fact of having a commissioner ask the questions since you always get asked them.
Well, you didn't prepare me for this at all.
I didn't. That's part of the rapid fire. That's part of it.
Totally off the top. So the first one, is obviously, why doesn't the media do more positive stories on the great things in college athletics. That's obviously the big frustration that we all have is, it's how poorly student athletes are treated, or there's certain examples that come along here and there, but it's really, why can't we focus on the great things? And you've done a good job here in this interview, but so it's more of a general question.
Yeah, my answer to that would be I can't speak for the rest of the media because I'm not like them at all. I always say that I'm a 0.1%er in the media. That 0.1% of the media tells the truth and cares about you, and the other 99.9 just are looking for a story and trying to get famous and trying to make money or whatever. And for me, it's not about that. My faith in God is first. The way that I handle myself with my morals and values is a focus. And so why doesn't the media do more positive things? I don't know, but I can tell you that I am here, and as long as God will allow me to be here, no matter what they do, I will always focus on the positive.
Great. Second question. So you've talked to reaching out to various commissioners, other conferences. Mm-hmm. What are you hoping to achieve through your discussions with commissioners in this series you're doing?
I'm looking to always bring people together. I love the question. I'm looking to bring people together and to show people that everyone deserves representation. I've reached out to all 32 of the conferences, and I look forward to working with all of them. I've done a lot of work over the years with the American and the ACC, and I've had the opportunity to speak with, at this point, commissioners from all over the country, including yourself. I came up with the idea because I thought to myself, why just talk to one place? Why just connect with one place? I would love to be able to go to a Big South, sanctioned event. I would love to see teams play against each other in that. I'd love to, when I come down to Charlotte, and I'm supposed to be down there next month, to, if I could make it work, to tour the office or see you and sit down. I do this because I challenge myself to get to know as many people as I can while I'm on this earth, to bring people together and to show that everybody has a vision and a mission, and there's not a single person that should be kept out of the discussion. So I honestly, the short answer is, I'm a big kid who just loves getting to know as many people as I can and tell their stories because I'm a storyteller. The deeper thing is, I believe that you all deserve representation. Some of you have it and some of you don't. But through my show, if nowhere else, you will have representation because I believe you deserve it. And I don't believe anybody should have to work in the shadows. I believe that we should spotlight all of the commissioners and all of the leaders that are trying to do things, God willing, for the positive in this world. So I don't think I can cover collegiate athletics if I don't open myself to all of it. And I've done my best to do that, and I continue to push myself to do better. And I just to me, I get excited at the opportunity to bring more people into my life, more people into my show, and tell more stories. So I'm never going to stop when it comes to reaching out and trying to meet new people and to tell new stories.
That's awesome. That's a great answer. Okay, last question. And this is a question actually I posed to my dinner table mates. I just got back from commissioners meetings last night. By the way, first meeting we've had in person, for almost 2 years. And it was a great opportunity to see everybody again. But so this is the question I asked. So, what was the first baseball stadium you saw a Major League Baseball game in, and what year was it?
I love this question because I just was talking about this because I did a Father's Day with someone near and dear to my heart that I call Papa Joe. We did kind of the nation's pastime link back to Father's Day, and so I can tell you that my dad is a big Yankee fan, and my dad had never been to Yankee Stadium, either the new Yankee Stadium or the old Yankee Stadium, and so I had gotten tickets for my father, and we went in, I believe it was 2013. And it was Mariano Rivera's last year. And I didn't even time this on purpose, but I got us, we were at the fourth level. And the reason why I did it is I put us dead center, home plate, fourth level up. So from our seats, you could see literally the entire stadium. And I wanted him to get like that aerial shot of that. and it just so happened to be Jackie Robinson Day, Mariano Rivera's last season, put it all together. And so, the last guy to wear number 42, and here he is, and he's on the mound at some point in the game, and it's Jackie Robinson Day, and my dad's at Yankee Stadium. So that's, we got to experience that. I mean, that's one of those God is great things, because I just planned out the tickets, and then I was like, oh, it's Jackie Robinson Day? Oh, Mariano Rivera? Oh, number 42. And it all just kind of came together, and we got to enjoy that. So that's something I did for my dad. But way back, my mom and my dad, my first ever game that I was brought to was a Toronto Blue Jays game when Joe Carter was playing in the Minnesota Twins. They beat him 11-2, and Joe Carter was insane, and the game wasn't even a game. The Blue Jays were just wreaking havoc, and that was at the old Sky Dome, which is now the Rogers Center.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. My first was 1969 in Six Stadium.
Wow.
Which, if you're a baseball fanatic, you might know that. Otherwise, you probably don't. That was the Seattle Pilots home back in Seattle back in the day. I had no idea who they were playing. I don't have a lot of memories from it, but other than we were at this game and we were sitting in the outfield and there was this home run ball coming at us, and I took my cap off and I was waving. I don't think it even came close to me, but it was the 1 year the Seattle Pilots were in existence.
That's awesome, the Seattle Pilots. And so definitely, I mean, my baseball fans, that'll bring them all in to this for sure. 1969 once again. So with that being said, that's a cool story because, that's something that really only the true purists would know of baseball. Kyle Kallander joining us here, Big South Conference Commissioner. Kyle, I know it's the first time you've been on the show, but I appreciate it so very much. I had such a great time and just really appreciate how, what you brought to the table and how, diverse our conversation has been and the layers you were willing to go to. So I would love to have you back. And like I said, and I am a man of my word, I'm supposed to be coming down to Charlotte soon. So if we can find a way to link up there, but I would definitely love to have you back on the show.
Well, thanks. I'd love to do it and certainly love to get together. So let us know when you're coming down to Charlotte.
All right. Well, take care. God bless and have a good day.
Thanks so much, Dan.
Take care. That coming from Kyle Kallander, once again, the Big South Conference Commissioner here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for the first time ever joining us here on the show. What an awesome interview. What an awesome conversation. And what an awesome day to be alive. We'll take a step aside from the Cafe Kubal studios. We'll wrap up the show right after this. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, is your home for the exclusive Wake Up Call Liverpool Warriors athletics broadcast. We go every single month with the Liverpool Warriors athletic teams from the high school, which is within walking distance from Avicoli's. We bring them over once a month and spotlight them at Avicoli's, and you can spotlight supporting local and supporting the community Tuesday through Sunday every week at Avicoli's by heading out there. They have for lunch, dinner, and drinks, indoor and outdoor seating, the pizza casual side. They also have the fine dining side and their bar, 4 restaurants in one essentially, plus they have takeout, delivery, and catering by calling 315-622-5100. To say they're a jack of all trades would be an understatement, and I appreciate them so much. Over 2 decades of serving our community. 315-622-5100, and you can go to myavicolis.com, and of course you can go see them at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York. Canine Kampground Dog Boarding and Canine Camp Dog Daycare are your homes for your furry-loving friends. Whether it's short or long-term care, look no further than the people that treat your dogs as members of their own family. If they stay at the campground, they have their own cabins at night. They get to sleep by themselves in a nice place with the food that you have provided. So they have their own food, they have their own water dish, they have their own bed to sleep in, they have their own kind of little hotel room, so to speak. And, of course, during the day, they can come out and play play with the other dogs, and they care so much at the campground and the daycare about your dog feeling safe and you feeling safe dropping your dog off, that they go through a process of making sure that the dogs can play with each other, that these dogs have good temperaments, because they want you to know that they're only bringing dogs in that can play well with others, just like any daycare, and that you can feel safe. Because when it comes to Lily, she's my kid. She's my daughter. That's how I treat her. So when you are looking for a place to respect your animal in the exact same way, Canine Camp Dog Daycare on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse and Canine Campground around the corner on 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse are the perfect place for you to go to. PB&J's Lunchbox, the home of the award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and so much more. PB&J's, you've loved their drive-up truck. That truck has been all over Central and Upstate New York, and you love going to it. You pack it, and it's so exciting and so much fun, and they have great stuff on the menu, and they always have a great time, and they're led by Pat Orr, who has a fantastic smile and personality. PB&J's Lunchbox has come to you, and now you can go to them. You've had to follow them around Central and Upstate New York, and you still can, but now they can come to you. So when you're really jonesing for a grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or a Philly cheesesteak on a pita, or their corn chowder, or their brownies, or whatever's on the menu, when you want it, you can now go get it all week long on 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York, at their new Street Side Cafe location, 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. And, of course, Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics located on 791 West Genesee Street in Skaneateles, right by the beautiful water of Skaneateles. They are your home where they care about the patient. They listen to you. I've gone there for almost a decade, and I can honestly tell you of every doctor I've ever met all over, wherever, inside and outside of the state of New York, wherever I've lived, these doctors are second to none when it comes to asking questions and getting real answers and having people asking you, do you understand? How do you feel? What do you need? That is a beautiful thing. Not every doctor has that bedside manner, and Dr. Mark Petropoli and the people that he hires have been tremendously great. They know you by your name when you come through. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, not only helping us with preventative care, rehab, as well as physical therapy and surgery, but caring enough about their patients to take the time to take the time. You know when a doctor cares about you. In Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, they're not looking for you to win the day. They're looking for you to be victorious in your life. It's not about today. It's not about tomorrow. It's about every day at Victory. And that care and that concern and that hard work, effort, and enthusiasm, and Dr. Mark Petropoli always challenging himself to learn and grow and evolve, that is why Victory is worth going out to from wherever you live. 791 West Genesee Street in Skaneateles. Call the number 315-685-7544. That's 315-685-7544. With all of that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I want to bid you adieu on a beautiful week. We got so many great things coming up this week. Oh my gosh, the surprises are endless. I want to tell you, but I can't. But I will soon. On Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. Surprises abound, so if you're not on our social media, you better get on it, because you don't want to be a person when somebody goes, did you hear what Dan's doing this week? Oh no, man, I didn't hear it. Well, get on it. At Wake Up Call DT on Facebook, at Call DT on Twitter, at Wake Up Call _DT on Instagram. wakeupcalldt.com. Don't miss a second of what's coming up. This week is full of surprises, and I can't wait to share them with you. With that being stated, make sure every Monday through Friday you're hanging out with us on Facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, YouTube.com/wakeupcalldt, Facebook.com/LiveNowDT, as well as listening on MixLR.com/wakeupcalldt and on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage, where the live feed for MixLR is embedded. And of course, after the show goes live, you'll be able to find us on these beautiful outlets on Stitcher, Spotify, MixLR, TuneIn, YouTube, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Podbean, simply by searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or by searching the one word Wake Up Call DT. And a proud thanks to all of our Central and Upstate New York partners that I appreciate so very much. Shout out to the new location for Cafe Kubal. They just got the manliest location. They just reopened the Galasanos Children's Hospital location, and now they have their first ever drive-thru on Sweetheart Corners, corner of Route 11 and Taft Road in North Syracuse. Carvel DeWitt, Wildcat Sports Pub, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, Avicoli's, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, the Millhouse Market, Pizza Man, Honda City of Liverpool, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, PB&J's Lunchbox, and Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. Go to maandpazpopcorn.com anywhere in the country, and you will find 20% off by ordering online. If it's in-store pickup or if it's delivery to any one of the 50 states, either in-store or delivery to you, you can still get the 20% off as long as you do it online. Go to maandpazpopcorn.com and use my promo code DT20 for 20% off this morning, and you're going to get yourself some really, really awesome kettle corn and all of their treats that they have there. In the meantime, I want to thank everybody that's been a part of this week. Shout out to Carvel DeWitt for the annoying moment of the week. Shout out to Chick-fil-A Cicero with lead and Juanita Ward for being my partner. Shout out to my top dogs of the week, Gina Castelli and Mary Grimes, the coach that was at Lemoyne for 8 years, and the new coach, Mary Grimes, being there now. Kyle Kallander being on the show for the first time ever from the Big South. A big shout out to him. The ingredients to success that's come to you from Avicoli's and everything we've gotten to do. The live show that shows that we got to go doing, going through the drive-thru, as well as talking to you out in front and inside of the new Cafe Kubal, a drive-thru at the Sweetheart Corners that has indoor and outdoor seating and a drive-thru. 3 different ways to interact with Cafe Kubal. So for what we got to do on Monday, to all the guests we've had throughout the week, and all the beautiful things we've gotten to bring to you, to Papa Joe and I celebrating the nation's pastime, as well as getting really excited about Father's Day and everything. This week has been a beautiful week. You are beautiful people. Love yourself. Don't keep yourself from happiness. Hold on to the things that are good. Let go of the things that are not. Trust in the good Lord and know that He'll guide you home. God bless. No stress. Do your best. I cannot wait to talk with you all soon, and I hope you have a fantastic day. And please, take care of yourselves and be good to each other. I'll talk to you soon.